Who are Hillel and where does Hillel Ontario fit into the overall organization?
So Hillel, we call it the Jewish home for campus life. It's an opportunity for Jewish students all across the province and indeed around the world to come together as Jews, as proud, as strong, as resilient young community members who are interested in spending time and building relationships and communities with like-minded individuals. Hillel Ontario is the largest Hillel of the 850 Hillels around the world. We are operating currently at 9 universities. There's about 25 campuses that make up those 9 universities. And we say there's about 14,000 Jewish undergraduate students who are studying at the 9 universities where we're currently operating. So it's an opportunity for Jewish students to come together and be together. And of course, in a post-October 7th reality, it's also an opportunity for those Jewish students to be activists and to advocate on behalf of themselves and their peers, advocate on behalf of the Jewish state and all that we believe in as people. So the role and the mandate of Hillel continues to expand in this ever-changing environment that we're operating in.
What do you do as the Chief Advancement Officer for Hillel Ontario?
So my job is to manage our brand, to manage our communications and marketing, to manage our stakeholder relations and fundraising work. So I oversee a team of about 8 individuals across the province who do that work. And I've also worked for the Jewish community in Canada for the last 16 or so years. And so I'm involved with various aspects of our work from advocacy and fighting anti-Semitism to getting an opportunity to meet with students and of course amazing community members from the very young to not that young. And it's never been more important than it is today.
What is it that Hillel does that people may not know about?
So I think there's a common misconception that Hillel is about Shabbat dinners or bagel brunches. And of course, Hillel is about Shabbat dinners and bagel brunches, but that's not all we're about. Last year, we mobilized more than 3,000 students across the province to take part in fighting anti-Semitism. On a yearly basis, we educate thousands of students about the Holocaust and modern manifestations of anti-Semitism. We educate students about Israel, about Zionism, about the Jewish community and the history, the rich history of the Canadian Jewish community. It's also an organization that does work in the LGBTQ space, where we have an opportunity to really connect with the next generation around intersectional issues that are important. Hillel is a place where Jewish students with a wide range of beliefs and political opinions and religious backgrounds can come together and just be in community with one another. Someone pointed out to me recently that over the course of the last year, since October the 7th, there have really been 2 different communities within the Jewish student population. And one is a group of students who, after those terrible events, were like, I want to go out, I want to be an activist, I want to drive forward and be loud and proud. And there was another group that wanted to sit Shiva and wanted to be amongst friends. I think an opportunity that we have here at Hillel is to hold both of those groups, to be here as an introspective community and to be amongst friends and amongst family, and also a group that wants to go out on campus and build relationships with non-Jewish allies, a group that wants to get involved with campus elections, a group that wants to work with faculty and administration on issues of mutual concern and interest. So, Hillel really does mean so many things to so many different people. We really have evolved into a much more robust, professionalized organization. Last year we had 230 students across the province elected as part of our leadership structure. It's a big organization with a lot of people, 24,000 student touch points last year. We really are reaching and punching above our weight, and I think it's especially important now.
Well, so you definitely touched on this, but what has been your long-term mission and how has that changed post-October 7th?
From our leadership on down, we know we can't be the same organization we were on October the 6th. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable from an advancement perspective. It's not sustainable from a student engagement perspective. We have to evolve. We have to recognize that things have changed and that things will continue to change over the next short to medium term. As we go into the fall, we are really, we have one concept in mind, and that's Hinenu. We are here. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to be hiding in the corner. We're not going to be scared. We're not going to cower. We are here. We are strong. We are proud. And we're going to stand up for what we believe in on campus. We are going to host public events. We are going to host public solidarity vigils and rallies. We are going to show up and stand up and speak up more strongly and more boldly than we ever have before.
In regards to that, certainly, what role did Hillel play in responding to campus occupations such as the occupation at U of T?
Yeah, so these unlawful occupations that have really plagued campuses over the course of the spring and early into the summer were deeply challenging for Jewish students, deeply disturbing and hateful and harmful. We advocated sometimes 12 hours a day to university leadership, to the government, to the media for these encampments to be removed. Frankly, they should have never been allowed to have been there in the first place. We maintain that they've created a hateful and divisive and toxic environment, not just for Jewish students, by the way, but for the campus community as a whole. And we were out there front and center. My colleague, who's the CEO of Hillel Ontario, Rabbi Seth Gorin, he and I were on the news on a weekly basis, advocating for these encampments to be removed. We at Hillel joined as part of a legal proceeding in the U of T case to advocate for the removal of these encampments and to talk about the harm that they cause to Jewish students. We believe that a university has an obligation to ensure that Jewish students, like all other students, are able to live and work and study on a campus free from harassment and intimidation. And unfortunately, many of them failed. Some did a better job than others, some did a worse job. But the reality is these unlawful occupations had no place on campus. We said that from the beginning. We said that they were against the law from the beginning. We argued that, again, they were creating this hateful and toxic environment. And ultimately, what the court case at U of T showed us is that we were right. It took far too long for the University of Toronto to ultimately act, but thankfully, finally, the courts allowed them to do it.
Of course, another group that was extremely affected by this whole last year are the parents of the students who are at university. So what are some things that parents can do in response to anti-Semitism on campuses and online?
I would encourage parents of university age students to have a voice. If you're a parent of a student at a particular university, write a note to the president. Send them your concerns. Tell them how you're feeling. I think there's only positives that can come from that. I would encourage parents to be in touch with us at Hillel directly. Let us know what your concerns are. Let us know what you're facing, what your students are facing, and how we can do a better job to advocate with them, to stand shoulder to shoulder beside them. Because we are on campus 365 days a year. We've got professionals all across the province, and we are there. And we are a resource to you and to parents. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say, look, we're always looking for resources. We are always looking for additional capacity to help us do a better job, to help us push harder and stronger and louder. And so if that is something that's of interest to you, I'd welcome to have a conversation with those people as well.
Well, that sort of leads into this follow-up question, which is what should parents be saying to their children about the rise of anti-Semitism on campuses? I've had questions from parents. There have even been questions that have been raised at shul of, this is what my kid came home and said, and I just don't know what to say to them.
I would encourage parents to talk with their kids about the importance of being an advocate for yourself and for the Jewish people. And of course, they don't have to do it alone. I mean, that's one of the things that we do on a daily basis here at Hillel is we sit with and stand beside students who are experiencing incidents of anti-Semitism on their campuses. We'll go to meetings with them, with having a meeting with a dean of a particular department about an issue they're having in a class. We'll go to the meeting with them. We will coach them ahead of the meeting. We will talk to them about the rules and regulations of the campus and how to use them to their benefit.
So I wanted to at least get to a bit of a lighter note. You mentioned earlier the bagel brunches, the Shabbat dinners. What are some highlights of the kind of fun things that Hillel does?
I took a day trip out to Kingston, to Queens, and I sat in the Hillel house for an entire day. I was there probably from, 10:30 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. And just sitting there and talking to the students who were coming in and going out. They'd come in for a coffee or they'd come in for some chips and popcorn. They had lunch. And we just, had really amazing Jewish conversations. Just, how are you? Like, what are you experiencing? What is it like to be on campus today in this moment? Really was one of the highlights of the year, just being amongst and within community. I think that is something that has been reinforced to me, and I think I'm not unique in this. And really, that's what Hillel, in a nutshell, is all about.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the importance that there's been increased importance of being with community, doing activities like this together, and just being in, you can call it a safe space, but just a really encouraging, positive space. And Hillel is super important for doing that with a very key group of people. So I just want to thank you for the work that you do. And thank you again for answering my questions. And I look forward to sharing these answers with the Beth Tzedec congregation.
Thank you so much for everything that you guys do, and really for being a beacon of light, I think, in the conservative synagogue movement. You guys are doing a great job, so thank you.